Good day, or should I say good night. After a fun day of working on the Nomad, tonight I want to break down the suspension to put these cool new coils on. But I've ordered all my parts from Pat's Auto. They actually had some in stock. So new control arm bushings, ball joints, wheel bearings, and I'm going to break this down and rip this side apart and then go take the other side apart and get her done. My friend Murray, Mr. Meticulous, brought me over some beauty rings because we're going to go with some steel wheels. Maybe take the ones off Rock Sled, my 1960 delivery, or have a backup set of steel rims with beauty rings that Murray brought over for once we get on the Dempster. The Dempster is, you leave Dawson City and you drive roughly 800 kilometers, 500 miles up the Dempster to get to Inuvik gravel road. Then from there it's another 160k, 100 miles to Tuktoyaktuk. And I moved away from Tuktoyaktuk a long time ago. So I'm looking forward to going back for a visit. They have a pub in Inuvik called the Mad Trapper. It used to be everyone would take a $1 bill or a $10 bill or whatever, put their name and a message, and leave it, nail it to the wall. Well, I of course did that. And I want to see if it's still there. Of course, it might have changed hands. The bar might have been sold. I know pubs sometimes will take all that money down and donate it to a local society. So I don't know if it's still there, but we're going to find out. I believe the idea of leaving money on the wall started back when a miner or a trapper would be in town and he's about to go out, try to make some money. So he would nail a coin to the wall. And when he came back to town, he still had no money. At least he could go over and take down the money he had nailed to the wall. And he'd be able to buy himself a beer. And I don't know how it started up there, but I'll have to look into that actually. But we'll see if my $5 bill is still sitting on the wall up there. That's from many years ago. Got new wheel bearings coming. I want to see how these feel actually. I don't know if they need to be replaced, but why not? Ah. They feel pretty good. And of course on the back you have your inner wheel bearings and a wheel seal. So, wow, brake drums look pretty good. And actually, I would say these brake shoes are better than 50%. Yes. And they wear evenly, which is important. And that's your brake cylinder on each wheel. When you pump up the fluid pressure with the brake pedal, it just pushes the shoes away from the center. This all looks Wow, this looks really clean. Those brakes, I mean, look how clean this all is. I would say they had been replaced not so long ago. Look pretty good. Now you can tell the ball joints have been replaced once because these are held on with a nut and bolt. Factory was usually rivets. But what we do, if we can turn this wheel, okay. We take off that big nut right there, and the lower ball joint nut right here, and then this spring comes flying out, and we got to undo the shock too. There's the top shock bolt, and it bolts up under here. Yeah, you can't really see that, but the shock's inside the center of the spring. Drag link's been replaced. Everything looks good, but we're changing it all anyhow because we're going in here. So I gotta take out some more cotter keys. Oh wow, they're big enough. I think I'll cut those. All right. So we get an out of province inspection Thursday. This is Monday night. I ordered my parts this morning, and they're gonna deliver them tomorrow. A little presumptuous of me. I figured they would be able to get them that quick, but they did. I must have that upside down. Might need a little leverage. Nice. I'm gonna have to get at this from the front. We'll see. Oh, we got her. So, once I do the upper and lower ball joints, then I got to go for an alignment. Vitally important. I think just to get it on the road, I took the tires off rock sled and put them on here. And I'll put these 14-inch onto rock sled just for now. Keep it off the ground. Now these springs, old school. Years ago, you take a torch and you chop a little bit off the top of the spring, and it was the cheapest way there was to lower a vehicle. And you'd be so way cool. So that's what they did. But if you're on rough roads especially, it's not a great idea. You can get lowering spindles. That costs a lot more bread. So that's what people did. I've done it myself. It's an old square body. Doesn't take much either. Because the first set I cut too much. Wow. It's gotta find my bigger side cutters. Oh geez. Yeah, I gotta find the right tool. So it was way easier to make a car cool. you could buy air shocks, jack up the rear end so you could put big wide tires under it. And if you couldn't do that, you could put a bunch of your buddies, get them sitting on the trunk, and you put a baseball bat in between the fender and the tire, and you roll it back and forth, and it sort of folds it out. You know, generally mess up your paint, but hell, you could fit fat tires in there. And that was what was really important. So it was really easy. Turn the air cleaner upside down, make it really loud, the cover. So life was simpler. But now it's a convertible. We want it quieter. I want it to handle better, so I don't want to put really wide freaking tires on it with a lift kit. So we're just going to make it drive cool, calm, and collected. And then I imagine Lou's going to eventually throw a 4-speed in it and burn the tires off. So right now I want to get rid of the sway bar end link here. This is the sway bar end link. Hooked up to the old sway bar that goes across the car. Stabilizes the car quite a bit in the corners. So I'm going to need 9/16, I'd say. And I better get some cat's ass. Alright. I should have hit this a little bit sooner, but this stuff works pretty fast. So, once I take off the sway bar end link, I smash the sides of the ball joint receiver, and I brought the wrong ratchet. That's hard to believe. All right, here we go. Ooh. Wow. And then get on the bottom of it. All right. Get this out of here. First car I had was the 57 Pontiac 2-door post. And I think after that I started driving the 74 Pontiac Ventura. I cut the roof off of it. It was a lot of fun. Did that for a couple of years. Wow. This is fighting me. Oh, I might have to get an extension. That's a long way to go. Jeez. Okay, I've got out my lower control arm. These bushes actually look really good. I didn't doubt the guy, it's just, well, you're doing springs. figured I'd do ball joints. I mean, I'm looking at them and they seem really good. Same with the upper. I mean, I'll change them anyhow. You look at the control arm bushings up there. The rubber looks to be good, not weather checked. It's amazing how nice this is. So, the springs. Here's the new springs. So, lined up by each. The new ones come just over center. The ones that were in there stop way back here. Not a lot of difference in height. So I'm a little curious. I'm going to put in the new ones because I think they're a bit stiffer than these. These were pretty tight when they were in the car. There wasn't much room left between the coils. Mike, the previous owner, had said that they'd been heated up years ago or cut to lower the car, and we all did that kind of cool stuff. So I think just because he was good enough to give us these new ones, I'm going to throw them in. I'll change my ball joints. I'll change my control arm bushings. I'll clean these up, paint them up. I think I might even sandblast them. Make them look good. And you can see, you know, everything's been freshly greased. This is the new drag link here. Everything seems really nice. But I wanted to take these out. Now I know. So, pretty happy with how this is going. The other side, I'll show you more of the process. This one, yeah, I might be what you'd call a little bit rammy with it, because it's pretty late at night. Not that late, but it's been a long day. So, we'll get the other side going. My parts show up tomorrow from Pat's Automotive. These are the outer wheel bearings. They feel really good. And I've ordered the inner wheel bearings as well that go in the back of the hub. So, I mean, we're doing it all. The brakes are fairly new, super clean. I'm just not, we're used to working on a car that's like this kind of nice. Even the sway bar end links are in good shape, you know? You probably changed them. So everything about this is just makes me pretty happy. So next time I'll show you more of the process when I do the other side. Good day. Today, this morning, we have an out-of-province inspection tomorrow on the beautiful Firebird. So today I'm going to be taking this side off. My parts will be here shortly. It was suggested to get some better shots in closer, so I have a fancy new adjustable camera stand. Hey, I'm going to set that up, and we're going to start taking this side apart. I'm doing control arm bushings, upper and lower ball joints, changing the coil springs, checking the brakes. Everything seems to be in remarkable good condition, but when you're taking it apart to change coils, it would be a shame not to do everything while you're in there, right? I mean, we are going to go across Canada with this, so here we go. And now I'm going to put the wheels from Rock Sled, the 60 Chevy Delivery, back on this. Save us another whack-a-dough getting ready for the trip. It will be 25,000 K. There's places we're looking forward to seeing. We're hoping to get around Niagara Falls. Oh, and there is a fella I really want to drop in and see. He's got a good shop going on. Just gonna, hey, we're really hoping to drop out and see hot cars and cool tools. They have a YouTube channel, Hot Cars and Cool Tools. And I met them when they came out to Rust Bros for a visit. Nice guy. We're doing a cool Ford and great attention to detail. And when we go across Canada, we're going to hit around Niagara Falls. And we're really hoping to get a chance to stop in and see their project, which is coming along quite nicely. You should check it out. It's pretty cool. Yeah, there was a bit of play in this bearing. I could have just set it up, but again, we're taking everything apart. So now we just put in new and we'll repack the bearings. Just gonna pop that off so the bearing doesn't end up on the floor. It doesn't really matter. Like I say, we're going to be replacing it all. So, now that I'm covered in grease, these brakes are pretty nice shape. Wow, I mean, if you look in here, I got to get a paper towel so I can actually hold up the camera and show you. So it's very even, no grooves. None of these parts even have any rust on them. It's so clean. I mean, recently greased. You know, one thing, the fellow we bought this from, Mike, drove truck for a long time, and they're well known for doing really good maintenance. Yeah, there's no big grooves in this. Really happy. So, like I say, we have to get our out of province inspection done. And he's actually interested in the car too. He said he might drop in just to see how it's looking. And to see if I'm on schedule. I'm supposed to be there tomorrow. And I'm a little bit behind schedule. I know, surprise, surprise, right? So, gotta get the cotter key out. For the lower ball joint. And then, and the upper ball joint. And the upper one is right against the sway bar bracket. You know, I am going to spray that with some cat's ass right now. New wire brush, eh? Just get that started. Start soaking. Okay. So, I'm going to cut off some of the excess. I'm going to be putting in new cotter keys anyhow. It is pretty dark in there, isn't it? Okay. Trying to get it started out the back. Oh, better turn that. I have mentioned before, one of the first things I do is I order new brake parts and I get the brakes done. Because if I ever get a car running before it has brakes, I know I'm going for a test drive anyhow. So I do the brakes first, just to be safe. Okay, so I'm going to do these control bushings. This is the lower control arm. Got to change these bushings. I don't really have to, but once you're taking it apart, I'll never have to do them again. Same with the upper control arm bushings. You can see this bolt in there. This arm goes up and down. Over the years they wear, they squeak. Here's the upper shock bolt. There's two more down here. You want to get the shocks out. Ooh, I better get that with some cat's ass too. So it's a little bit of monkeying around. There's a tremendous amount of pressure on these coils. So a person has to be careful. But not an issue. So, wow. And it is a beautiful summer day. I mean, dig that. Oh yeah. I got to get back on the Nomad, but this has to get in for its inspection tomorrow. So, take out the shock bolts first. Where are they? Right on. Wait a minute, what have I got on there? Oh! Wrong socket. Half inch. Okay. When you're working on the older cars, sometimes it's difficult to find a shop that's used to doing alignments on the older automobiles, because they're different. Oh, I grabbed another 9/16 and another. Where's my half inch? Okay, I gotta stop and get a half inch. Okay, I got the end link bolt off for the sway bar, anti-sway bar. Okay, let's see if we can break this upper ball joint. Okay. It's not cooperating. Let's go down. I got room to add a wrench. There we go. Perfect. Cat's ass. Come on. Right on. Whoop, I don't want to take that right off. That's all it's holding. Okay, there's what we call, I believe it's a Morse taper in here. So you have a taper in the receiver on the spindle, the part that turns, and the ball joint has a slightly different cone shape. And when they're hammered together, that holds itself even without a bolt. The bolt's there for safety, of course. So right now, there's a tremendous amount of tension on this spring, which is holding this Morse taper, is holding it from going apart. I believe this one's a Morse taper. I will look it up. Anyhow, when I get the bottom one loose, you smack on the side here. There's a little boss here. You put a big weight behind it and smack it, or you use what they call a pickle fork, and you pop those apart, and spring, it comes apart in a big hurry. So you got to watch your fingers when you're doing that. So I'll get this bottom one broke loose. I believe it's 7/8. A little bit of grunge. There we go. We're on there. Yeah, okay. I think it broke loose. Yes. It's a little snug, but there's a lot of crap on it. I might have to spray it a few more times. coming good. When I was just getting ready to start driving cars, my dad brought out a torque wrench and took my car, and he said, okay, tighten up all the wheel nuts on it. And then we checked it with the torque wrench, and he made me go back and forth until I could tighten up, and I believe that car was 75 foot-pounds, 1957 Pontiac. And he had me keep doing that until I developed a feel for 75 foot-pounds. Now I always use a torque wrench, but if you're on the side of the road and you're a young punk like I was, he wanted to make sure if I had a flat, I did it right. He always, with a wealth of information, didn't matter the topic. I gave up trying to catch him on a topic with something he wouldn't know years ago. So, I'm about ready to release the pressure. So this is going to be a little intense. I'm going to get the old pickle fork. Now, I didn't have one the right size, but Dad had one in his shop. So you see the wedge shape. You hammer that in until it pops the taper apart. And ideally, you don't want to damage that rubber or the paint. I have it in the wrong place. That's tough. Why? Oh, that's weird. I gotta move this. It'll be a loud enough spring. You're not gonna miss it. I'm doing something wrong. I wanted to put a weight behind it and hammer on the side. With all this fresh paint around here, I thought, well, I'll do it the easy way. I'll try the bottom. Whoa! You hear that? Yes. So, tension's off the bottom one. You can see, because the nut is now right against the spindle, the receiver. And you can see the gap in here where this spring has forced that down. There's still a tremendous amount of tension on it. And even once I get this one broke apart, it's a big spring. There's going to be a lot of tension and it's going to go. So, break out your trusty spring compressor. Actually, before I go further, I've got to finish taking off the upper shock bolt, because that will stop it from coming all the way apart. I don't know, I don't think I need new shocks, but I might just change them. There's two flat spots on the top of the shock, and that's what I'm trying to grab. I'm not grabbing the threads. Okay, right there. Could use a crescent or a very tiny wrench. Oh my. Okay, let's try to get this. I've sprayed it with cat's ass a couple times, and that seems be making a difference. Yeah. Okay. All right. I've called this car a Camaro a few times by mistake, and I chalked that up to I spent a couple weeks working on Mike's 67 Camaro rag. And so when I see this, walk up to it, it's like flashbacks, and I end up calling it a Camaro. And that's not a good thing. Oh, love Camaros, but it's a Firebird, and I don't want to say that around a Firebird person, but call it a Camaro. My friend John at Midnight Paint and Body, he's got a nice Firebird. Check out his YouTube, Midnight Paint and Body. I called him up for a little bit of motor advice because he's well versed in these. And he actually races his. He also does long trips with it. So, okay, I'm getting pretty close. I got to get the vice grips out of the way. Ah, geez. Just not quite yet. But I am bumping into the vice grips. I have to grab just a tiny, tiny edge now. Okay. Ah, geez. I need to grab more. Well, I'll try a small crescent wrench. That might work. I guess by small, I meant kind of freaking huge. Jeez. I'll try to show you that, but it's really tough. Where's Lou? I don't know. I don't want to cut the shock off because I got it this close to the end, but it is really difficult to hold. The shock rod turns inside the shock, and if I don't take it apart, when the spring blows apart, there's a wide flange on the bottom here, and this bolt are going to stop it from springing apart, and that's not good because then it's almost impossible to get apart without a torch. Yes, you don't want to use torches on shocks too much. There's pressure inside them sometimes. And just try some more. Wow. Uh-oh. Nope. So what I might have to do, I wonder, see if I can get underneath it. Jeez, that's tough. See, you can't grab the underside of it. The rod, like a hydraulic cylinder, so the rod goes through a seal. If you put vice grips and mark that up, then it doesn't shock anymore. And you hit a bump and it could be quite shocking. So, I'm trying to find a way, but there may not be one. It may just be new shocks. Unless I can pull that bottom out. Okay. I'm gonna see if I can pull this bar out of the shock. Then I could take it apart. This control arm could swing down around it. So I will try that. I won't waste your time showing you that part, but that's what I'm going to be up to. All right, that's the lower shock bracket. So I got it out, which means I can knock this apart. The shock will fit through the hole in the control arm, so all the tension will come off. And then with these things out of the way, it's much easier to get that top bolt off. All of this is pointless if the shocks are no good, because I'll be throwing them away. But right now, I'm remaining cautiously optimistic. There we go. That's broke apart. Now, it's still not safe, so we're going to be careful. There we go. Oh, geez. So to turn in the whole ball joint, that's the risk you run. There's so many different ways to do this, and I happen to choose the least effective one. Normally, I put a jack under this and a chain around the frame, because I lack some of the fancy tools. When I put it together, I will be using a spring compressor, but you have to have the shocks out to use the kind I have. Mr. Meticulous lent it to me. Murray. It'll be a bang soon. Okay, there. Now I can get up in there and get that apart. Yes, and I'm glad that I'm doing, the one bushing here is a little worn on the upper control arm. So, this is one of the typical things when you're doing a nut of province is these rubber front brake lines tend to be cracked and checked, and they really like to see those new. And so do I. The steel ones look excellent. So, that's still a little tight in there just because we banged up some things here. Okay. All right. Upper and lower control arms are out. Pat's is dropping off the parts in a bit. I'm going to press out these bushings. I'm going to blast and paint my upper and lower control arms. Same going on over here. A couple rubber brake lines still coming. You can see that one there. I got to change it as well. So anyhow, I got the start on that. Now I can get back on the Nomad. Looking forward to it.